So then we are back with more understandings from the time of the Second Tabernacle services, where we find the Aramaic English translation of the word. This translation comes from the original manuscripts of the prophets of the Israelic lineage, so then we can understand the time of the end. As per Yeshayahu the prophet, we find layers of understanding of the spring feast, the autumn feast, and also the returning of the cities of the Messiah laid waste from many centuries. As we read then Yeshayahu the prophet, these layers of the 61st chapter, we then establish a link with the 23rd chapter of Leviticus, and then we link also with Hebrews, roughly the 10th chapter, where then there is the shadow prophetic events of the Torah. As then the team of Yohanan on the land of Cush, where he formed then the first holy city, we then establish this understanding as then the second tabernacle services. There was the first tabernacle service, and then when the Messiah came, he completed the spring feast, found in Leviticus the 23rd chapter from the first verse through the 21st verse. Then the Messiah came and he obviously explained to his people that they should also maintain themselves loyal for the second tabernacle services. And then in 1009, when the cities were no more, then came the New World Order. Then in 2009, this period of time has ended, and we are once again waiting for the first holy city on the land of Cush, precisely where then Yohanan started at. And then the other cities also must be refurbished. So then, with this in mind, what is then the objective, for instance, of Israel at the moment? Let's read then what the Creator himself has said. As far as David, his servant, and what he said regarding very precise understandings of Israel being then a light to the world. It explains then in the 49th chapter, explaining of David and what they should be for the world. They should be a light to the world. As he then obviously had set aside David and worked in his life, obviously this is what we should be expecting then from the nations. As far as these nations understanding what is the situation during this time of the end. Many of these nations, they are waiting for a long time for some sort of a revelation as far as what's coming in the future. And then in the 49th chapter of Yeshayahu the prophet, you find then Israel should be a light to the world. But the question is truly Israel being a light to the world? At the moment, we understand there was 1,000 years of deceit. Daniel then gave us this understanding in the 12th chapter. And then for 1,000 years they would be roaming the earth. No more cities. There were no objectives, clearly, because then the leadership of this world was given then to the world itself, and they did whatsoever they wanted for 1,000 years, and it didn't work. After 2009, then came the time of the restoration period where the holy cities must return. Thus then, nations are expecting from Israel leadership. And in many areas you find, in Yeshayahu the prophet and many other prophets, you find Israel should be then the leader of the world and leading then the Gentiles of getting to know then the Creator himself and understanding most importantly on Gentile world the prophecies, so then they understand where they are heading towards. Because of these then we hearkened then what Yeshayahu has said. However, can Israel lead? Let's then make an evaluation what's going on in Israel at this very moment. There are elections coming next year. In March then, the roughly in mid-March there is then news regarding elections. It's 2 years then in advance, but there is a reason why the situation is taking place. So let's make then an evaluation of the situation. Israel is then stagnated for quite some time. The economy of Israel is not doing nicely as it should have been. What can we then understand from what's going on at this very moment? What then both of the leftists, the justice minister was fired, and also the financial minister was fired. But let's understand the situation from the enlightenment of worldly view, not what David did for Israel and vice versa. Let's evaluate what's going on. Israel's economy is not doing very nicely. And then Prime Minister Netanyahu, he is aware of the nation should improve. And the relationship with Israel and the United States is not in the best plateau. So then we also understand that those leftists, the Minister of Justice and Finances, they have a portion of the situation right. But then working together against the government is not also profitable. This truly was then the reason why they were set aside. There are the steps of formation where we should understand from the instructions and also from the world how we should then handle the situation. Quite honestly, he should have then talked with these gentlemen and tried to find a mid-ground so then they could obviously work together, but it didn't work so. But both of them, they have then the right of pointing out those problems. So then, what is going on next year then in March that led then the Prime Minister of Israel of making changes in his government? Was it then a revelation? Section of it or part of it, it is. Because in March next year in Barcelona, Spain, is going to be held a very important gathering of the entire worlds of technology as far as mobile telephones and computers and you name it. It is the largest in the world. Interestingly, the new calendar, or then the calendar of the Creator, is then the Aviv, or then the time or the early year of 71.5. So then, this year is extremely important. It was explained before, there was a period of time, or yesterday, where then Israel is going to be left alone for some time. The United States and Israel are not in the same pace. But then, because they are not in the same pace, let's then understand why. The United States is organizing itself also for the new system coming. They don't evaluate this way yet as a whole, but they must. And Israel also is understanding because of this new event next year, and from then on the whole world's system of trade is going to be linked, not in 71.5 or 21.5, but then it is the starting point of organizing and making sure the world understands that there is a system via computers and telephones where then the market that we're used to know for so many centuries is going to change. Because of these and the intricacies of governments and these new systems being linked together, the Prime Minister of Israel decided then he should have set aside those gentlemen and then wanted new elections so then he can secure his place when this new period starts. Okay? So then, is a situation regarding the holy instructions. Part of it is, but the motives behind, are they from heaven or not? Each person should ask himself and then answer it. Because this situation is mostly related with the Gentiles. This is what's going on in the Gentile world. Now the most important is this. At this point in time, what then the Creator is saying in His words. Obviously we should study the Torah, absolutely. Torah are the basis. But then, as far as we can understand from the prophets, that's where then the leading of the nations should be. It's not only leading the nations by teaching them the Torah. It's not the point. The point is, without having the knowledge of Torah, giving specifics and instructions as far as where is the world leading towards, or where is it going to be heading for. There is a distinction. We can't make this entire world Israel. That's not the plan. But the plan is, the Creator has given us enough information, prophecies and understandings of the Gentile world to give them directives from understandings of holy prophets of the Hebrews. That's where then the guidance, or the primarily guidance, comes from. Should nations then help Israel? Absolutely. Israel has helped the world by being obedient, and then the Messiah came from Israel. So then, what can we expect then the next year? And then the year after? As it was explained before, Daniel the 11th chapter gives us very strong directives of what's taking place. So then, as far as the 24 months and 36 months, let's make an evaluation what must take place. Couple of situations in couple of years, then obviously is going to end the time of Israel roaming during this time where there are so much information in the world. The relationship with Israel, United States, is not in the best place. And it won't be for the next at least 24 months. Then later on, after then this period of time when the United States changes from Democrats to Republicans, then the situation shall to change. Israel, obviously, because of early elections of next year in March, is going to start securing the place of the right wing. So then ahead of time, then Israel is already taking its stance. But it won't be easy until the 24 months expires. Lots of skirmishes coming up. But because of these, then we should strengthen ourselves of what the Creator has told us. That Israel and those people working on behalf of Israel should be the light for the world. And the Creator Himself has promised that those engaged in work, they should become the light of the world. Now, nations at this very moment in time, in many places, they never heard of the holy instructions from a standpoint of layers. And what is the perception of the people from the other side of the world? They observe the holy instructions of the Creator as a burden. But they should not be concerned with the Torah itself at first. They should be concerned of what then the instructions from the prophets are saying to us as far as the Gentile world is concerned, where they are heading towards. Then later on, as they understand how this functioning of the Gentile world works, then as the Creator directs, they get interested in learning more. So then, gives them at least a hope and understanding of what then the world is heading for and heading towards, and gives them the liberty of understanding these facts. And as the Creator directs them, then they can read more and be more acquainted. Because some people are going to be more drawn and some people are not. Some people will, some people won't. Because of the specific objectives the Creator has for every person. So then, with this in mind, what is going on as far as next year? 71.5. What can we expect? Very simply, the Chinese system must become stronger and stronger and stronger. From this time, next year, we should have, for instance, more Chinese banks from the private sector with the objective of handling the e-trade and many other areas of finances and linkages. So then, Prime Minister of Israel has then secured its place. He has then obviously the Prime Ministership next year on the line on March, because it's going to have elections. And then from then on is going to prepare then the right wing until reaches the expiration of the 24 months. That's when the United States changes the government. Now obviously the Republicans are going to take over the House. And then both of them are going to become strong. Then, shortly after, then comes the Soviet Union. Let's not forget. And then from then on, from this time on, then China is already strong in many sections of the world. So then a couple of situations, the 24 months expiration and then the 36 months expiration. And then at the end of 36 months, you find then the Soviet Union much more prominent, and China then ready to link the rest of the world. Is that going to be at once? No. But it's going to be the starting point of linking then not only China and the Pacific, but with the rest of the world. So then we have then the understanding, we know what's coming up, we understand Daniel the 11th chapter and then Galah, Revelation, and we understand most importantly, those who are engaged with the work of the Holy Creator should be the light of the world. And then teaching them the holy prophecies, the understanding and the layers, and give them then a chance of studying for themselves and understanding the layers thereof, and then let them for some time study these and verify what the Creator does with them, because He's always wise. Next time I'm going to evaluate more of these as the news are coming up very strongly, and then we can maintain these videos updated. So please stay tuned, much more coming up.